Imagine waking up to find your entire life savings gone. The job you've dedicated 10 years to vanished overnight. The relationship you thought would last forever ended in a text message. What would you do? Would you crumble? Would you rage against the unfairness of it all? Or would you somehow find the strength to face it with dignity and clarity? This isn't a hypothetical scenario for James, a 38-year-old marketing executive from Boston. 3 years ago, he experienced all three catastrophes within a single month. His company shut down without warning. His partner left him. And a poorly timed investment cost him nearly everything. I remember sitting on my kitchen floor at 3 a.m., James recalls, wondering if this was what rock bottom felt like. I had two choices: stay down or find a way to rise. What happened next wasn't a miracle. It wasn't luck. It was the result of ancient wisdom that has guided humans through plagues, wars, exile, and personal tragedy for over 2,000 years. Today, we're exploring how the practical philosophy of Stoicism can transform your response to life's inevitable challenges, not through grand gestures, but through simple daily practices that gradually reshape your mind. Because here's the truth most self-help gurus won't tell you. Mental resilience isn't born in moments of inspiration. It's built through deliberate practice day after day, often when no one is watching. Number 8, the misunderstood philosophy. Before we dive into specific practices, let's clear something up. Stoicism isn't about suppressing emotions or maintaining a stiff upper lip. That popular misconception misses the entire point. Stoicism is a philosophy that recognizes the full range of human emotions while providing practical tools to navigate them. It's not about denying feelings. It's about responding to them with wisdom rather than reacting from instinct. As Marcus Aurelius, Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, wrote in his private journals, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is the foundation of Stoic mental resilience, understanding what you can and cannot control, then focusing your energy accordingly. Now, let's explore 7 daily practices that can transform your mental landscape just as they transformed James's life during his darkest hour. Practice 1. The morning reflection. Before checking your phone, before diving into emails, take 5 minutes for a morning reflection. This practice sets the tone for your entire day. Here's how Sarah, a 42-year-old emergency room doctor, describes her morning ritual. I wake up at 5 a.m. and ask myself 3 questions. What might go wrong today? What virtue will I need most? What am I grateful for right now? This simple practice grounds me before I enter the chaos of the ER. The morning reflection works because it activates your prefrontal cortex, the rational part of your brain, before the emotional limbic system takes over. It's like mental preparation for the inevitable challenges ahead. Try this tomorrow. Before your feet hit the floor, ask yourself those 3 questions. Notice how they prepare you mentally for whatever comes. No Mars. Practice 2. The premeditation of adversity. Imagine the worst that could happen, not to torture yourself with anxiety, but to remove its power over you. Michael, a trial attorney, practices this daily. Before every major case, I imagine losing completely. I visualize my client's disappointment, the opposing counsel's satisfaction, even the judge's ruling. Then I ask myself, would this end my career? Would it define my worth? The answer is always no, and that frees me to perform at my best. This practice, called premeditatio malorum, premeditation of evils, isn't pessimism. It's mental preparation. By confronting potential difficulties in advance, You develop psychological antibodies that strengthen your response when real challenges arise. Try this. Before your next important presentation or difficult conversation, take 5 minutes to imagine it going poorly. Then ask, could I handle this? Would life continue? You'll likely discover an inner resilience you didn't know you had. Practice 3. The pause. Between stimulus and response lies a space. In that space lies your freedom and power. This insight, shared by both Stoics and modern psychologists, might be the most practical wisdom for our hyper-connected age. Emma, a 35-year-old single mother and executive, describes how this practice changed her life. I used to snap at my team, my kids, everyone, when stressed. Then I learned the 5-second pause. When I feel that surge of anger or anxiety, I just breathe and count slowly to 5. It sounds ridiculously simple, but it's created space between my emotions and my actions. That space has saved my career and my relationships. The pause works because it interrupts your brain's automatic stress response, giving your rational mind time to catch up to your emotions. Try this. The next time you feel triggered by an email, a comment, or a situation, pause for 5 seconds before responding. Just breathe. You'll be amazed how this tiny gap changes everything. Practice 4. The evening review. If the morning reflection prepares you for the day ahead, the evening review helps you learn from the day behind. David, a 51-year-old teacher, shares his approach. Every night before bed, I ask myself 3 questions. What did I do well today? Where did I fall short? What will I do differently tomorrow? It's like having a wise mentor, except that mentor is my better self. Seneca, a wealthy Roman Stoic, practiced this nightly review religiously. He believed that examining our actions without harsh self-judgment is essential for growth. Try this. Tonight, spend 5 minutes reviewing your day. Look for patterns, not perfection. This isn't about beating yourself up. It's about gentle course correction. Practice 5. The view from above. Imagine floating above your life, seeing your concerns from a cosmic perspective. This practice, visualizing yourself from increasingly distant vantage points, helps shrink problems to their proper size. Lauren, an anxiety-prone entrepreneur, uses this technique during overwhelming moments. When I'm catastrophizing about a business setback, I imagine zooming out, seeing my office building, then my city, my country, the planet, the solar system. Suddenly, that catastrophic email becomes a tiny blip in an infinite universe. It doesn't make my problems disappear, but it rightfully diminishes them. This cosmic perspective reflects Marcus Aurelius's advice to contemplate the vastness of eternity when troubled by temporary concerns. Try this. When something feels overwhelming, take 2 minutes to mentally zoom out. See your problem from increasingly distant perspectives. Notice how your emotional response changes. Practice 6. Voluntary discomfort. Choose discomfort occasionally to build your tolerance for life's inevitable hardships. This doesn't mean suffering needlessly. It means intentionally practicing with small difficulties to build resilience for larger ones. James, whom we met earlier, credits this practice with his recovery. During my lowest point, I started taking cold showers, not because I'm a masochist, but because I needed to prove to myself that I could do hard things voluntarily. That small daily victory gave me confidence to face bigger challenges. Other forms of voluntary discomfort include fasting, exercising to exhaustion, or temporarily abstaining from pleasures. The key is choosing the discomfort rather than merely enduring it when forced upon you. Try this. Identify one small comfort you rely on, hot showers, sugar, social media, and voluntarily abstain for a day. Notice how you feel before, during, and after. And practice 7. The memento mori, remember that you will die. This might sound morbid, but contemplating mortality, not obsessively but regularly, transforms your priorities. Elena, a 67-year-old cancer survivor, describes her daily memento mori ritual. Each morning, I touch the scar on my chest and whisper, "Remember." Not to be gloomy, but to remind myself this day is not guaranteed. It helps me focus on what truly matters and let go of petty concerns. Stoics used memento mori to cut through life's trivialities and focus on meaningful action. In our death-phobic culture, this practice feels radical, yet it's precisely what gives urgency and clarity to our choices. Try this. Set a weekly reminder on your phone that asks, "If I had only a year to live, would I spend today this way?" Notice how this reflection changes your decisions. The science behind these practices. These aren't just philosophical musings. Modern neuroscience confirms their effectiveness. Dr. Karen Williams, a neuropsychologist specializing in resilience training, explains, "What we see in brain scans is that regular practice of Stoic exercises actually strengthens connections between the prefrontal cortex, responsible for rational thought, and the amygdala, which generates emotional responses. With practice, people literally rewire their brains to respond more thoughtfully to stressors. This neuroplasticity explains why consistent small practices gradually transform your automatic responses to difficulty." Bjarter, real results from real people. Let's return to James, whose life collapsed 3 years ago. How did these practices change his trajectory? "I started with just the morning reflection," he explains, "then added one practice at a time. The changes weren't overnight, but they were profound. Within a year, I had started a new career, rebuilt my savings, and developed healthier relationships. Not because circumstances magically improved, but because my response to circumstances completely transformed." Sarah, the ER doctor, reports similar results. "In medicine, we face trauma daily. Before I discovered these practices, I was burning out fast. Now, even on the worst days, when we lose patience or face impossible decisions, I have tools to process the experience without being destroyed by it." Putting it all together, your 30-day resilience plan. If these 7 practices feel overwhelming, start with just one. Here's a simple 30-day plan. Week 1, practice the morning reflection daily, 5 minutes. Week 2, continue morning reflection, add the evening review, 10 minutes total. Week 3, continue both practices. Add the pause whenever you feel emotionally triggered. Week 4, maintain all 3 practices. Experiment with one other technique that resonates with you. Remember, consistency matters more than perfection. As Epictetus said, practice yourself in little things and then proceed to greater. Bo, the ultimate test. The true measure of these practices isn't how well they work when life is easy. It's how they transform your response when life falls apart. Michael, the trial attorney, discovered this during a devastating professional setback. "I lost a case that destroyed my reputation temporarily. Before Stoicism, this would have broken me. Instead, I remembered, this external event doesn't define my worth. My response does. That distinction between what happens to me and what I do with it made all the difference." This is perhaps the most powerful lesson from Stoicism. Nothing can harm the inner citadel of your mind unless you allow it. However, closing thoughts. The choice before you. As we conclude, you face a choice similar to James's kitchen floor moment. Will you continue as before, at the mercy of external events? Or will you begin training your mind for greater resilience? The practices we've explored aren't magic bullets. They're more like daily vitamins for your mental health. Their power lies in consistent application over time. The ancient Stoics understood what modern psychology confirms. Mental resilience isn't something you're born with or without. It's something you build choice by choice, day by day. So tomorrow morning, before reaching for your phone, try asking those 3 simple questions. What might go wrong today? What virtue will I need most? What am I grateful for right now? This small beginning might just transform everything that follows. Remember, the obstacles you face haven't come to destroy you. As Ryan Holiday, modern Stoic author, writes, "The obstacle is the way. What stands in your path becomes the path itself."